New York Mets fans, apologies for the intro. I have no idea why that said Mets versus Blue Jays. But anyways, we are here for the True Mets Talk post-game show. It's Mets versus Nationals game 2 of this series. Again, let me play the intro one more time in case you all don't know what it is. Let's go, Mets, everybody. Please, everybody, spam those W's in the live chat. The New York Mets are victorious by a score of 10-1 tonight against the Washington Nationals. We have a lot to talk about. Please, everybody in the chat, make sure you hit that thumbs up on this video. Again, apologies for the unusual start here with the unusual intro. I don't know exactly why it was Toronto Blue Jays, but we have a whole lot to talk about. The New York Mets offense explodes behind Pete Alonso and his 5 RBIs. Luis Angel Acuna, we'll talk about him here in just a second. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new here for this post-game show as well. We'll be getting into the comment section. Drop those live chat comments. Wow, what a victory for our New York Mets. This is absolutely spectacular. And in a stretch of games where the New York Mets offense really seemed lifeless. We were wondering when we were going to get that actual production from the New York Mets lineup, and we have it here today. Want to make sure to shout out everybody in the live chat here with you all. We got Raymond in the chat. We got Ray spamming the W's. Carlos with the Braves lose. Cope with the W's. Brad saying wow, and I guess wow is right in terms of what we just saw with this New York Mets offensive production here. This is a tremendous time to talk about New York Mets baseball. D with the W's here. We got D with the LGM. We got Pure Adrenaline Sports John with the LFGM. I appreciate you all being here with me as always. W, W, W. LFGM, you know what it is. It is a true Mets Talk post-game show. I appreciate you all being here. This was a tremendous game for the New York Mets. Tyler McGill provides the New York Mets length with 6 innings pitched. He only gave up 1 run, and 0 of them were earned in that 3rd inning. Obviously, starting off with the initial walk to lead off the inning, the unfortunate throw. It wasn't even an unfortunate throw, it's an unfortunate catch by Luis Angel Acuna trying to get the force out at second base. He mishandles it, and obviously the Washington Nationals in that inning score the opening run of the game. But the New York Mets offense was definitely up to the task. They were up to the challenge for the entire game. There on out, 10 unanswered runs. And this is something that you look at this Mets offense and the peak production that they have gotten for the majority of this season. You talk about the statistical categories where this offense has led, and we haven't seen it in the Philadelphia Phillies series after the 3rd inning of game 2. Where did the offense go? Last night against Jake Irvin, where did the offense go? Well, you know what? The New York Mets offense is here, and they showed you all why they are ready to make a run here in the late stretch of run of games here in this season. We got Mr. Delight in the chat as well saying W, W, W. We got Daniel Caps in the chat. Shout out to Daniel Caps calling that Luis Angel Acuna home run. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Wow, what a game. This is absolutely tremendous. I like last night's post game kind of didn't sit right with me because we were talking about a Mets win, but we weren't talking about it as energetically as I would have hoped. But guess what? We get to spam the W's in this game. Jose Iglesias, as you see at the top of your screen, 3 for 4 with 3 runs, or I should say a run scored, 3 hits on the ball game. He has been absolutely the catalyst of this offense, especially when the offense has not pulled through for this New York Mets lineup. Jose Iglesias has been the mainstay of this New York Mets lineup and has been carrying this team. But you see here in the title of this video, of this live stream, Pete Alonso finally, after the video that I posted today about Pete Alonso and his struggles with the slider this entire season. Pete Alonso comes through. He has a multi-hit game, 3 for 5, a home run with 5 RBIs. This is a sign of life from Pete Alonso, and I absolutely love it. Let's talk about Tyler McGill here first, because I think that it's important to talk about the second start in a row from Tyler McGill, where he's gone 6 innings pitched with giving up 0 earned runs. 94 pitches for Tyler McGill here, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks on the game. And this is actually such an interesting piece, from Tyler McGill for me, because I look at the pitch distribution from Tyler McGill and I see 68 of the 94 pitches that he threw in this ball game were some sort of variation of the fastball, whether it was the 4-seam or whether it was the 2-seam. This is absolutely just mesmerizing to me. A guy that has a pretty good splitter. He has some pretty good off-speed movement to his arsenal. He relied solely on his fastball variations today, and he was very effective against this Washington Nationals lineup. Again, as we always say, we don't take any opponent that the New York Mets have in front of them lightly, especially in this stretch of games and these stretch of games. And the Washington Nationals are just that. They are a young, up-and-coming team. They're not playing for anything in terms of playoff seeding right now, but they are playing to be spoilers to the New York Mets and any other opponent that is in front of them. And the New York Mets have officially taken the series from them in the first 2 games, and they are looking for the sweep tomorrow. Wow. Wow, guys. Wow, guys. Please hit the thumbs up on this stream. Whew, I got to collect myself, because it's like, I didn't expect that from the Mets offense today. I didn't expect this from the Mets offense today. You look at Pete Alonso, you look at Jose Iglesias, you look at Francisco Alvarez and him turning, right, on a 1-1 splitter that was absolutely just misplaced by the Washington Nationals starting pitcher today. Hits it out of the yard, a splitter high and out of the strike zone. It wasn't actually out of the strike zone. It was up and out, but he handled that pitch very well. And what did we talk about on the pregame? What did I preach on the pregame from this New York Mets lineup? Please be aggressive early in the count, especially in a hitter's count. 1-1 to me is still a hitter's count. And guess what Francisco Alvarez did there? He drove a baseball in the 5th inning, and he hit it out of the ballpark for his 9th home run of the season with authority. Obviously here, JD Martinez takes the offer. JD Martinez is going to continue to be a spectacle in this lineup. We are going to continue to monitor the struggles of JD Martinez, but it seems like, right, obviously the inconsistencies of this lineup, it seems like the Mets lineup is starting to slowly buy into the philosophy of swinging earlier in the count and attacking the fastballs earlier in the count. And something that we didn't mention in the pregame that kind of came out as soon as the pregame was done between Rob and myself earlier this evening was the impromptu team meeting 2.0 of this 2024 New York Mets season that was held by a combination of leadership that included Pete Alonso, right? You take a look at a struggling Pete Alonso and the numbers that he's been posting. David Stearns, Carlos Mendoza, your MVP shortstop is going in for an MRI on his back. Uncertainty surrounding the rest of his season. And they call a team meeting, and the guy that is there speaking up as a team member of the New York Mets in 2024 is Pete Alonso. This is something that could set the tone for the rest of the season, guys. I really hope that doesn't go above anybody's heads. Obviously, Pete Alonso has a lot left to prove, and we are not going to take this game, right, as the end-all be-all of Pete Alonso and what he might produce in the next 11 games, but this is certainly a start. And we'll talk about the news around the league. Everybody in the chat here, shout out to the chat. I'll get into your comments here in just a second. This is going to be a lively, interactive post game. I didn't get off to the best start, obviously, with the intro. I have no idea why Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays popped up on the screen, but we're here, right? We are talking Mets baseball, and all is good. But this is something that I wanted to talk about here, and that is Luis Angel Acuna. Luis Angel Acuna. How many times am I going to see on my timeline talking about his AAA stats, about him not hitting the baseball hard in AAA, 257 average, below a 700 OPS in AAA, and how that's not going to equate to the major leagues? You make, as a rookie, a mistake, an error, to put your team in the hole in the third inning behind Tyler McGill by botching a force out at second base. Now, I don't think that they were going to turn that double play, obviously, and that's not really what matters. What matters is that the ball went off of his shin into left field to allow the go-ahead run to advance to third base. But how do you respond in that situation as a rookie in this league? How do you respond to that? And Luis Angel Acuna, after a leadoff walk that the New York Mets got, a free base runner, rips a RBI double into the gap for his first at bat of the ball game. That is the type of situational awareness, and that is the type of production that we should all expect from Luis Angel Acuna moving forward. There is no babying prospects, as I have mentioned time and time again. There's no more babying prospects, especially these middle infield prospects for the New York Mets, which they have a plethora of in the minor league farm system. And Luis Angel Acuna coming up here in his first two series of his major league career against Philly and against the Washington Nationals, making this much of an immediate impact is phenomenal to watch. And this is while our MVP shortstop is not playing in any single inning, and he is picking up that slack. Can we take a moment real quick to just step back and appreciate that sort of production? This is amazing. This is amazing. This team is rallying. And obviously, big props and shout outs to Tyrone Taylor. Again, getting the start today. And he is having a multi-hit game as well. 2 for 4 with an RBI. Tyrone Taylor is. And I keep on preaching. Tyrone Taylor, Rob keeps on preaching. Everybody in this Mets fan base for a fourth outfielder, and David Stearns acquiring him from the Milwaukee Brewers in conjunction with Adrian Hauser, who is no longer on this team, producing at this high of a level as a fourth outfielder with spot starts in between, is absolutely tremendous. So, you know what? Let's sit here and let's spam the W's in the chat, and let's appreciate the Mets offense finally getting their heads out of the gutter and putting up a strong performance and giving Tyler McGill the run support that he deserves and that this starting rotation deserves. Please, let's clap it up. W, W. Keep spamming those W's. W, W, W. Ray says, yes, sir. W, W. I definitely appreciate you all being here. Please hit the thumbs up on this post game. We are up tonight. It's a series win. It's 2-0 on this 7-game homestand. And we as New York Mets fans are celebrating, not only because we just took care of business ourselves, which is obviously the apologies. think my mic cut out. But again, if you all missed it, the New York Mets have separated themselves from the Atlanta Braves for the time being because they do get outside help from the Cincinnati Reds in beating the Atlanta Braves 6-5 tonight. Obviously, if you're scoreboard watching around the league, the Colorado Rockies, chat, help me out if this is the same sort of scenario that we're seeing in that game because I went live and I'm not able to check. But before I went live, the Colorado Rockies are up 3-1 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And obviously, as we all know, the New York Mets are only one game behind the Arizona Diamondbacks in the wild card standings. Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome to see. Everybody in the chat right now is popping. We got Liz, same lineup for tomorrow's game. We got Brad, future Mets, Vladdy, LOL, Steven in the chat. Acuna needs to play. And this is exactly what I've been saying, right? Especially as we saw an Eddie Alvarez start yesterday and all these people justifying an Eddie Alvarez start. That's all fine and good. But when I know that Luis Angel Acuna can provide more than the 178 career hitter that Eddie Alvarez is, it kind of just makes me wonder why that's the case. Luis Angel Acuna is 22 years old. He's got fresh legs, and he is here to stay in this Mets organization right now. And I know that he hit the home run today. I'm not expecting his power numbers that we saw in the Texas Rangers farm system to sort of continue to play out the same way. But the thing is that if Luis Angel Acuna keeps providing this sort of consistency, right, in this small sample size that we've seen, the New York Mets are really going to be in good hands, not only to end this season, but going into the 2025 season as well. This was a tremendously played game by the New York Mets through and through. The bullpen stepped up, Adam Ottavino stepping up as well. A couple of other guys, Brazaban stepping up in this bullpen to sort of hammer down this game. This was a complete New York Mets team win tonight, and everybody in the chat should be hyped. We are not speaking on any negatives tonight. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. I know it was a walk-off and the offense was lethargic. I know the Mets are coming off of a series loss in Philadelphia where expectations were sky high, but we are here talking about the New York Mets being 2 games up for the third wild card spot as of September 17th at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guy, John, I know you took the night off. I hope you're feeling better. Hope to see you back on the in-game live streams tomorrow is in the chat. Smash the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Absolutely. I appreciate you all for 950 subscribers on the channel. You can be rest assured that I will be covering the New York Mets on the pre-games, post-games, and just videos in general on the New York Mets for the rest of the season going into the offseason because, again, why would we not talk about this team right now? And you know what? Going into the pregame, I know the focal point was why does the New York Mets fan base not show up to support this team at Citi Field on a weekday against the Nationals in a NL wildcard race? And Rob and I kind of gave our pieces on that in the pregame today earlier if you're part of that stream. But I really think that bogged down and that sort of took away the actual content of this Mets team and what they need to do from here on out. Yes, the fans will show up. I have no doubt about it, whether it is at the start of the Philadelphia Phillies series or whether that is at the tail end going into the weekend. It doesn't matter. I know the Mets fans are going to show up. More often than not, you'll see Mets fans have bought into this team. Even the fans that weren't buying in prior are now bought into this team. But a lot of fans, right, in the chat, myself, Rob, we were speculating when this offense was really going to come alive. Again, they put up a 10 spot against the Washington Nationals. It is a great victory by a margin of 9 runs. We need to see more consistency from this offense, and it starts with this performance. Because as I mentioned, what was I watching? Again, I'm going to say it for the second time on this stream. What was I watching to begin this game? And I urged you all in the chat as Mets fans to watch in this game how the New York Mets handled their at-bats early in their at-bats, being on the first pitch, second pitch, or in any hitter's counts. Were they being aggressive and were they taking advantage of the opposing pitcher's mistakes? And guess what? They did that today, and we get a 10 spot in the scoreboard or on the scoreboard. And this is absolutely tremendous. I don't even know what else to say. I don't even know what else to say. Pete Alonso again taking charge in that impromptu players meeting, 3 for 5 today, 5 RBIs. It really seems like he is seeing the ball out of the opposing pitcher's hand well, and he saw it well out of the pitcher's hand today. But are we going to see that same version of Pete Alonso moving forward? Us Mets fans can only hope. And at this point, it's do or die time. Pete Alonso, JD Martinez, and Brandon Nimmo, in the absence of Francisco Lindor, need to hold this team down. And this Mets team, they're well on their way to a playoff berth. They really are. And I have nothing else to say about that matter other than take care of business in terms of what's right in front of you, and the rest of the dominoes will start to fall. That's it. But the pitching really has been spectacular, everybody. The pitching really has been spectacular. Hats off to Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill has been bouncing up and down in terms of this Mets rotation from AAA to the major leagues this entire season. A lot of people were wondering what sort of production we were going to get on a consistent basis from Tyler McGill. And I know I'm kind of flip-flopping here in this post game. It's not a structured post game by any means, but sometimes we have those types of talks about this team, whether we talk about the pitching, the bullpen, or the offense. And I'm kind of flip-flopping back and forth between the offense and the pitching. But Tyler McGill really deserves a round of applause and a hats off to him as well, because he goes out there and gets the job done for the second straight time. He utilizes his fastball predominantly today across his 94 pitches, and he is absolutely efficient. And the thing about Tyler McGill is that, right, in that third inning, when adversity hit, we knew that he walked a couple of batters in that inning, but it really seemed like he wasn't going to falter and that he was still as confident as ever in those pitches that he was throwing. And sometimes when we see Tyler McGill struggle, we see the confidence start to lack in his pitches. I didn't see that tonight, and I did not see that in the last outing from Tyler McGill, and that is absolutely huge from a guy that we should expect consistent outings from as a starting pitcher 5 in recent years where we haven't gotten those consistent outings. So again, this is absolutely tremendous. I'm kind of speechless right now. I have no idea what to say. I'm going to jump in the live chat here and get your all's thoughts and opinions about this win. It's a 10-1 victory. Obviously, game 3 is tomorrow at 7:10 p.m. We are going for the sweep, and hopefully the New York Mets are able to complete that. And again, hopefully the New York Mets are able to get outside help continuously from these other teams in terms of the teams that are playing the Diamondbacks, like the Rockies, and the teams that are playing the Braves, like the Cincinnati Reds, as we are getting today. Anybody in the chat, please feel free to drop an updated scoreboard on the Diamondbacks and Rockies, because I am not able to sort of, watch that right now as I'm kind of live and talking to you all about this win. But Cope is asking me how I'm feeling. Whew, Cope, that is a loaded question. That is an absolutely loaded question. I am feeling spectacular. And as a Mets fan, I have no idea how anybody is able to feel other than feeling spectacular. I have no idea. So if anybody feels anything other than feeling spectacular, vote in the live chat poll, because that is exactly what the live chat poll is geared towards. I want to get y'all's thoughts and opinions about how you're feeling about this Mets team moving forward. Are you confident? Are you nervous? Are you not so nervous? Do you think the Mets have this? And do you think they're going to clutch up for the rest of the season? So that's what I want to know from you all as the viewers in this post-game stream. King is saying Martinez needs a day off. I honestly agree with this 100%, because you take a look at the at-bats that he's been posting in the entirety of the month of September. They've been uninspiring. Obviously, he takes the 0 for today as well with 2 strikeouts. it really does seem like he is, following the footsteps of Pete Alonso in terms of the guessing game that is up there, in the pitch by pitch basis, right? 0-0, 0-1. It seems like he's looking for some sort of off speed. He's getting frozen by the fastballs that are getting blown right by him. Or if the off speed does come and it breaks late to his shins or ankles, he does a little bit of that half swing, check swing nonsense. And it ends up being in the pitcher's count. It's a favorable count, and he's susceptible to any pitch from there on out. So I definitely agree with this comment as well. Martinez needs a day off. Obviously, the New York Mets stacked their lineup full of righties today because they were facing a lefty, and that's how Mendoza wanted to go about this sort of situation. So we weren't going to see Jesse Winker at all as the DH, but you do have Jesse Winker to utilize as the DH moving forward. And that's something that I would definitely expect to see, especially as the Mets are playing every game as if it was their last in terms of solidifying this wild card berth. That's a great comment right there. This whole focus of attention has been on Pete Alonso, I feel like, in the recent weeks, and we've kind of sort of sidestep the struggles of JD Martinez. And I really do think it's important for us to step back and kind of look at his recent struggles, look at the types of at bats, and look at the process behind his at bats, and sort of tell ourselves that he might need a couple days off and he might need to go back to the drawing boards in terms of revitalizing that early success that he had and the consistencies that he had earlier on the season. Um, D saying Rob is absent in the post game because Pete Alonso exploded. I can assure you, Rob, if he was on this post game stream right now, he would be giving Pete Alonso his undue props because Pete Alonso definitely deserves that. Obviously, he fought a tough pitch out to right field for a blooper and 2 RBIs early in the game, and then he gets a hold of a home run, I believe his 33rd of the season later on in the game to complete the 5 RBI performance. Again, if we get this locked in version of Pete Alonso, this is only going to make the Mets offense more dangerous. And when we get Brandon Nimmo back in the lineup, and if he starts to produce the same sort of at-bats and the contact, at least, that we've been seeing from Brandon Nimmo over the last couple of games that he's been in, then we're really we're really cooking at that point. And Francisco Alvarez as well, he's starting to also produce those sort of confident at-bats. You see the home runs. I believe the broadcast and Gary said that Francisco Alvarez has 3 of his 9 home runs of the season, right, in the last couple weeks of the season. And that is 1/3 of your total home runs. And this is coming from a 25 home run season last season. Obviously, the power numbers are down and everybody's disappointed in that. But if Francisco Alvarez can really hunker down and fine-tune the power numbers, especially while batting 7th or 8th in the lineup, that extends this lineup and makes it as dangerous as I know this Mets lineup can be moving forward, especially against teams like the Phillies, the Braves, and the Brewers to end the season. Brad saying the offense has to show up tomorrow. They usually go dormant after big offensive games. And honestly, this was the trend. This wasn't going to be the trend in Philadelphia. Obviously, they put up an 11 spot in game 1 in Philadelphia to sort of back up that Jose Quintana gem in that 11-3 victory. They scored, I believe, what was it, 3 to 4 runs in the first 3 innings of game 2, and then the offense went dormant from there on out. The Mets offense, that is, cannot take their foot off the gas when it comes to these opponents. And even if it is the Washington Nationals, at this point, we always talk about whether this Mets team needs a series win or a sweep. Obviously, Rob and Hector, have their opinions about each of those stances. It doesn't matter if you win the first 2 games of the series at this juncture of the season. You need the sweep tomorrow, and I'm sure that's what we're going to be preaching on the pregame with Rob and myself tomorrow: is sweep the Washington Nationals. And we'll talk about that game 3 here in just a second before we round out this post game. Thank you to everybody right here updating me in the live chat. Junior saying 4-1 Rockies. Brad saying 4-1 Rockies. John saying 4-1 Rockies. Still batting bottom of the sixth. Hopefully that score holds up, because if the Rockies are able to hold on to win with the Mets holding the tiebreaker over the Arizona Diamondbacks, I would believe, right, with the same record. Again, I don't have the standings pulled up in front of me. That should put the New York Mets as the second wild card team and sole possession of that second wild card with 11 games left to play. Obviously, I'm expecting there's going to be some flip flop here between these two teams, and the Diamondbacks and the Mets, and maybe the Braves. Of course, the Braves will linger around and sort of weasel their way in back into the equation. But again, there's going to be some flip flopping. The New York Mets are not going to go 11-0. If you all are expecting the New York Mets to go 11-0 from here on out, I would really urge you all to temper your expectations. And that's not me being negative, and that's not me trying to be negative. But again, this team is going to make mistakes. The competition is fierce for the New York Mets over the next 11 games, especially after this Washington Nationals game 3 tomorrow that we'll talk about here in just a second. But I'm not even going to try to predict what they need to go in those 11 games. You all in the live chat, let me know in the next 11 games, for you all to feel comfortable with the Mets making the playoffs, what do they need to go? I mean, I can maybe predict 7-4, 8-3, somewhere in that range. But again, that's me sort of overshooting the projections, and it really all depends on how the rest of these teams shake out. So again, expect some flip flop, but hopefully that Rocky score holds up. Again, this is a mouthful, guys. This is an exciting time. I love this post game. I love being here with you all. I definitely appreciate it. Let me take a drink of my water real quick. Hold on one second. Yeah, Cope is saying 7-4 seems reasonable. Daniel Cap saying no worse than 7-4, 7-4, over the next 11 games. Junior is taking the overs here, all of the overs, and saying 9-2 over the next 11 games. Shout out to Paulo as well, saying hello to the chat. Appreciate you all being here. Again, if you are new here, whether you're watching over on X or whether you're watching over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up on this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. This is the True Mets Talk post-game show. We are talking New York Mets baseball after every single game, whether it's me up here by myself, me up here with Pure Adrenaline Sports and John, me up here with Rob, or a trio of us. We are talking New York Mets baseball almost after every single game goes final for the rest of this season. Follow me over on X and Instagram at CPNYSports, usually live tweeting the games, etc. Toss me a follow there. I post snippets and clips of my live streams and videos in case you all happen to miss anything that's up on the YouTube channel. But again, make sure you go ahead and hit the notifications button, and you all won't miss a beat, I promise you, because there's going to be a lot of content coming your way. Let me go up here and scroll into the chat. Again, did I emphasize enough about this Mets lineup? I feel like I kind of went player by player here in terms of what I saw today and tonight from this Mets lineup. Again, I mentioned Martinez takes the over. Vientos again takes the over. Vientos is officially in a slump. And again, I'm not going to say it's a deserving slump because I don't make excuses, especially in crunch time, for any of these players in this Mets organization. Especially seeing how 2022 played out, there's no margin for error. But again, with how great Vientos has been for this New York Mets team, he is in a little bit of a rut, and it's up to everybody else to pick up the slack. One name that I did not mention yet on this post game, and it's a shame of me that I didn't mention. I mentioned Luis Angel Acuna, and everybody that's mentioning his AAA stats need to stop, because he is here and he is here to stay, and you see the production that he gets you. I've mentioned Francisco Alvarez and the confidence in his at-bats. I mentioned Tyrone Taylor and his production as a fourth outfielder. I mentioned Pete Alonso and the 5 RBI performance. I mentioned Jose Iglesias and the 3 hits and his continued success on this New York Mets roster for the entirety of the season ever since being called up. How did I not mention the resurgence, right? Not even the resurgence, but the stepping up of Starling Marte, who we mentioned in the pregame gets booted up to that second spot in the lineup. I was an advocate for that, whether it's going to be Jose Iglesias, right, when Francisco Lindor is still in the picture, or whether it's going to be Starling Marte in that two-hole, especially on an Nimmo off day. You see a multi-hit game from Starling Marte. He scores a run, and he continues to produce for the New York Mets to extend this lineup as well. This is absolutely fantastic baseball. And again, Starling Marte keeping that even keel approach up the middle slash, I guess, a little bit to the right side, but again, knowing and utilizing all fields in his pull walk-off winner base hit yesterday. He is a true professional hitter, and it's just about keeping Starling Marte on the field because we all know his injury issues. But when he is on the field and when he is healthy, Starling Marte is going to be an integral piece to this New York Mets team in terms of making this late playoff push. All right. So we've talked about this game. I can't stress enough how huge Tyler McGill has been over these last two starts. Again, back-to-back performances with 0 earned runs given up. Obviously, he gives up the unearned run today because of the Luis Angel Acuna error in the third inning. Luis Angel Acuna gets it right back with an RBI double in the next half inning, and we're all tied up. And from there on out, the rest is pretty much smooth sailing for the New York Mets because the offense showed up. And I don't really need to say anything else about the starting rotation. Every single stream that we do, whether it's Sevy on the mound, whether it's Jose Quintana, who's been brilliant over his last 4 outings that we'll talk about here in just a second, whether it's Sean Manaea or whether it's Tyler McGill, David Peterson at this juncture of the season, these pitchers are producing for the New York Mets. So let's take a look here at game 3 before we end this stream. It is DJ Herz versus Jose Quintana tomorrow, where the Mets are going for the sweep. First pitch is at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, this is game 3 of the 7-game homestand. The New York Mets record after tonight. Obviously, they clinch the winning season with an 83-68 victory. They actually clinched the winning season yesterday after that walk-off victory, but they do improve to 83-68 on the season. DJ Herz has 2 starts against the New York Mets in his rookie season, being this season. He is 4-7 in the win-loss column with the 3.70 ERA. I do believe in his very first outing against the New York Mets, he struggled. I believe he only went 4 2/3 innings pitched, somewhere around there, with 4 earned runs given up. And his second outing was July 2nd. Someone fact check me on that because I'm kind of digging in my memory bank. I know Jake Irvin, the starter for the Nationals last night, was on July 4th in that gem, which is an 11:05 p.m. start time back on July 4th. But I believe DJ Herz got the start on July 2nd against the New York Mets. That was his second start against the New York Mets this season, and he went 5+ innings pitched, and I believe he only gave up 1 earned run. So what are we going to see from the New York Mets offense against this young lefty who's only 23 years old? He has a 4-seam fastball, a slider, and a changeup that he predominantly utilizes in terms of his arsenal. An even distribution amongst the 3 pitches, a little bit heavier on the 4-seam fastball as a lefty, going up against Jose Quintana, who has been absolute nails for the New York Mets here over the last stretch of games, especially over his last 4 outings, coming off of a brilliant performance against the Philadelphia Phillies, giving up no earned runs, and I believe what was 7 innings of baseball for him on that night in game 1 in that victory. As we just mentioned, 11-3. He is 9-9 in the win-loss column with a 3.91 ERA. And I'm gonna say this, as I always say with the Jose Quintana starts, please watch for his changeup and the four-seam fastball. The changeup is his bread and butter in terms of the put-out pitch, but he utilizes the four-seam fastball to sort of switch up the bat speed of the opposing lineup, and also he'll go up and down in the strike zone, primarily up at the letters or above to change the eye level of the opposing hitters in whichever lineup that he's facing. Again, Jose Quintana has had a really up and down season for the New York Mets, but with that last start, a sub-4 ERA, which always plays well for a starting pitcher for in any organization, and he is looking to make it 5 straight starts of quality baseball for the New York Mets as we enter this very tough stretch to end the season. So again, I don't really have any predictions. I've refrained from giving you all predictions. I think Rob has also refrained from giving you all predictions in terms of what the New York Mets are going to go out there and do, whether it's in the pre-games or whether it's in our post-games, looking forward to the next day. But again, this is a game where the New York Mets should go out there and try to take advantage of a sweep before the Philadelphia Phillies come to town for a 4-game set. So DJ Hers versus Jose Quintana is going down tomorrow. And again, we will be live. Make no mistake about it for the pregame and the postgame. Again, I'm not sure if Rob's going to join me for the postgame or if I'm going to be solo again, but hopefully you all are enjoying these postgames. Are you all enjoying these postgames? Let me know in the live chat, please. Spam the W's if you're enjoying these post games. Let me know if you are. Again, check out the Pete Alonso video that I dropped earlier on the channel, earlier today, I should say, about his struggles with the slider. Hopefully, tonight's performance from Pete Alonso is a sign, is indicative of what's to come in terms of his success. Maybe he can go on a run. Rob's been preaching that we need Pete Alonso to go on this run. I've kind of given up hope that we will see that run. And all I want is consistent production and timely hitting from Pete Alonso. I'm not expecting him to take over any game, but if he takes over some games like today with the help of his teammates like Luis Angel Acuna and Jose Iglesias, as we saw tonight, the New York Mets are really going to be in business from here on out. So again, hit that thumbs up. We're about 42 minutes into this post-game stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you all for 950 plus subscribers on the channel. Trying to get to 1,000 plus on the channel. It's been a grind. I've been doing this for about a year and a half at this point, and I love talking Mets baseball with you all. And you all really do show up to support in every single live stream that we do. And I could not be more appreciative of that from you all as the viewers and you all paying attention to this channel. I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate you, JB. Thank you so much. That makes me happy. This comment warms my heart. I definitely appreciate that, JB. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I'm going to get into some more chats before we end the stream. Junior saying we honestly aren't getting enough content from you guys. Oh, I need to step up my game. It really seems like I need to step up my game. The pre-games, the post-games, the in-between content's not enough. I need to be on a next level. No, seriously though, Junior, thank you so much for your support. I definitely appreciate you. An A1, day one supporter of this channel. It does not go unnoticed. Absolutely. Thank you, Thor, so much. I appreciate you all. Let me get into a little bit more comments here. We got Thor with the W, CP the best. W from Paula. Ray saying, CP, these pitchers are feeding off each other. Absolutely. You see it on a nightly basis from top to bottom. And what was a stretch of games, right? And this is a great comment by Ray here before we end the stream here, as Junior saying W and Oliver saying W as well, and Copa saying yes sir, keep up the good work. But going back to these comments and this comment right here, what was at one point a stretch of games where we were confident in the New York Mets starting rotation 1, 2, and 3 in Severino, Manaya, and Peterson giving us quality starts, and wondering, and I guess praying and hoping for the best from your 4 and 5 and Quintana and Tyler McGill now has extended from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on any given night. on a nightly basis or a daily basis, whether it's a night or a day game, we can expect and we should expect a quality start from these starting pitchers. But again, as we mentioned in the pregame stream, because again, there's a lot of overlap between our pregame streams and what we say in our postgame streams, because a lot of it still remains true. You cannot expect, and we cannot expect, the New York Mets starting pitchers to continuously be as good as they have been. And that is where the offense comes in, like a night like tonight and scoring 10 runs. Now, obviously, Tyler McGill didn't need that sort of run production because he was lights out over 6 innings pitched. But you saw it in Philadelphia with Luis Severino. He wasn't perfect, making mistakes to Bryce Harper, one of the better hitters in the league, but still giving the bullpen and this Mets offense an opportunity to win the game and leaving the ball game with a 4-3, margin, right? And a 4-3 lead. And the next day, David Peterson also pitching his ass off, and what ends up being a 2-1 loss on a walk-off. So again, these starting pitchers are definitely feeding off of each other, and they are, especially in the month of September, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, lights out. But we can't expect perfection. We might see a little bit of a drop off, but this offense and the way that it has been going, it is time for them to pick up any level of drop off from the starting rotation, and it's time for them to produce in a timely manner for the New York Mets down the stretch. So again, I want to see this team perform in tandem. I think the New York Mets are right there in terms of where they want to be. Hopefully, Francisco Lindor is healing up. This is his second full day of rest. We probably will not see him tomorrow. I know he mentioned after his MRI came back clean that the best case scenario that he might be able to appear in the third game of the National Series. At this point, there is no use in trying to sort of rush him back. Give him tomorrow's rest. That's 3 days straight of rest. See how he's feeling, because the trainers did tell Carlos Mendoza, which is a positive news, I guess, clip from today, that Lindor's back is feeling better. And he told the trainers that he's feeling better. And hopefully he can lace up for game 1 of the Phillies series as they come to town for a 4-game set. Pope is saying the Stros are up 2-0 on the Padres as well. I believe they have a 3.5 game lead in the wild card as well. So again, anything is possible with 11 left to play, and we'll see how this NL wild card race kind of holds out from here on out. JB mentioning my hat. This is a very new pickup that I got. I appreciate you, JB. Hopefully it's looking good. I got the nice little fit here, the tan fit with the hat and the shirt, and I'm feeling good because the New York Mets are making me feel good with this 10-1 victory in game 2 as they are looking for a sweep in game 3. It's been your boy CP. It's been an animated, non-scripted, as you can tell, post-game. I'm kind of all over the place, but sometimes that's how we are on the post-game shows when we talk about a lopsided victory for our New York Mets in an important stretch of games, right, from here on out. 11 left to play, 150 games down already, and the New York Mets are 83-68 on the season, as you see here on the screen. See you all tomorrow for the pregame. See you all tomorrow for the postgame show. We got Jose Quintana versus DJ Hers. Let's go Mets. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for watching the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure you're tapping on that notifications button and checking out all the latest content on the channel. Thank you.